Good afternoon and welcome to HVEDC's Back to Business webinar series. My name is Mike Oates and I'm the President and CEO of Hudson Valley EDC. And each week we will be hosting a series of webinars in which we will present key business leaders who will share their expertise designed to help you navigate the current crisis and also help you get your business back up and running when we're able to do so. I want to thank Focus Media and Ellenbogen Creative Media for helping us put this series together. Both are outstanding firms that you should really consider reaching out to if you need help with your marketing, public relations, crisis management, or video production services. This week, we are fortunate to have two outstanding business and community leaders who will share some important information. First up is Dominic Cordisco with Drake Loeb, who will discuss zooming back in, getting municipal boards and applicants back to business while New York is on pause. And we also have Biz Rowley with the Community Foundation of Orange and Sullivan, who will talk about the COVID-19 Response Fund and her organization's great work during this crisis. So again, thank you for joining us. And why don't we kick it off with Dominic? So Dominic, let's get started.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike. And it's a pleasure to be here. And it's really, truly very heartwarming to see everyone, even in this circumstances. The social distancing, has had real impacts on everybody. And this has been a very stressful time. And one of the things that has been put on pause and people are wrestling with is what I wanted to focus on today, which is our municipal boards. So in other words, our town boards, our planning boards, our village boards, ZBAs, which provide essential government services. And so they've been wrestling with how do they conduct their meetings given social distancing, given the requirements of the governor's executive orders. And also, we wanted to focus on just conducting meetings in general. So whether or not you're interested in just the governmental aspects of this, is that hopefully we wanted to provide some practical tips today on conducting meetings during this time. And to be quite honest, it's likely that even after May 15th, which is where the current New York on pause orders are extended to currently, it's likely that our world is changing in a really profound way. And it's also likely that future board meetings and future is going to include a virtual component to it to allow people to participate, where in the past, in-person meetings was the requirement without the ability to have virtual meetings that occur. So with that said, that says no gatherings means no in-person meetings, really. So I don't want to say right at the outset, however, that I'm not going to focus on the legal requirements that, in terms of legal citations and different opinions as to what the executive orders mean or don't mean. There's actually been quite a few really good programs that have already been put together if you're interested in the intricacies of how the executive orders correlate to the public officers law or New York state laws. The Association of Towns has been a great resource. Other attorneys like Nick Ward-Willis and others from the Department of State have hosted lengthy discussions regarding how all of this works. But I just really want to focus on the practical aspects of it today. So what we have is executive orders that do say that municipal meetings and public hearings can continue, provided that there's an opportunity for them to do so by either video or telephone conference. The meetings themselves have to be recorded, and they also have to be transcribed. I'm going to discuss that aspect of it in just a bit. So what are video conferencing options? Well, if you're an Apple iPhone, FaceTime, in my opinion, for hosting these meetings. The same thing kind of counts for Facebook. We're on Facebook Live right now, but not everybody uses Facebook. And so you want to provide like a means for people to participate in as broadly as possible. Google Meet is also available as a resource, but in my opinion, it's difficult to control, especially in terms of controlling who is speaking and maintaining security and the orderly functioning of meetings at that time. I've used GoToMeeting in the past. I find it a little bit glitchy from time to time, and I'm not recommending GoToMeeting. A very popular choice is WebEx. And some municipalities are using that for their meetings. It is a very strong, secure software. It's made by Cisco. It is maybe not as user-friendly as some other choices. YouTube Live has also been an option. So I'll tell you a quick funny story, maybe not so funny for the participants that this affected, but a recent town board did conduct their meeting by YouTube Live. But YouTube is highly focused on copyright infringement. And so a participant that was watching the town board meeting actually hit the button on YouTube that said that the video actually contained copyright material and that it was a copyright infringement. And that meeting actually got shut down by YouTube automatically as a result of that complaint. So while you should post your videos to YouTube, I don't recommend using YouTube Live as a platform for actually broadcasting initially any meetings. And that brings us to Zoom. Why Zoom? Well, like I said, Zoom is easy to use. It has a pretty straightforward interface. To host meetings, you can do it for free, but those are limited to only 40-minute long meetings, and that's probably not long enough. Especially when you have a normal municipal board meeting that goes on for a couple hours. So you have the ability to pay $15 a month and be a paid host, and also you have basically extended meeting lengths. I think the limit is 24 hours. If we're still talking municipal meeting for longer than if we're up to 24 hours, then I think that's really going to be quite a marathon session. It does also allow up to 300 participants. That sounds like a lot, but in practice it may not be. So for instance, we recently had a town of Newburgh board meeting using Zoom, and we did have 33 participants, and it was a fairly light agenda. There wasn't a lot on that, so everybody is calling in or participating via Zoom. 300, I think, is a good target. There are other options available for additional money. Zoom automatically will record your meetings for you and give you a video file that you can edit later. It also gives you a transcription and automation. This is not the same as stenographer's transcript, however. It is just a document file that their best guess as to what people are saying. And Siri, barely gets it right half the time with me. So the thing is I would not rely on Zoom transcript, especially as meaning the transcript requirements that are required by the executive orders. But perhaps the most important point is that for all participants, anyone who wants to attend a meeting or just watch the meeting, it's free. And it includes a teleconference option as well. And that's a free teleconference option because you're going to have some people that just don't have a laptop or don't have a smartphone, and they should still be allowed to participate in the meeting. And so every Zoom invite comes with a telephone number with a meeting ID that can be punched in on a regular, even a flip phone or a home phone or whatever, which is, I think, an important option to ensure that there's continued public involvement. So there has been quite a few articles out there about Zoom security. Zoom has been aggressively addressing the criticisms and complaints about their platform. They continue to roll out updates that tighten up, potential security. But it's not so much the security of the app that has to be mindful of. It's more about the actual orderly running of the meeting. And the orderly running of the meeting, in other words, if you want to prevent Zoom bombing, there's a few easy steps, and so and we'll go through those in just a moment. If, however, that you're having a confidential conversation, if this is not necessarily a public meeting, if this is an executive session, or if you just want to have a private meeting with someone to go over something that you want to keep confidential. Zoom might not be the best choice for you then. I mean, you always have the phone, or you have other options that are available that provide more security. When we're talking about, letting the public know now, it's really essential that we provide as much notice to them as possible as to how they can participate during this time when there's no actual in-person meeting. So what I recommend is that for any notice for a meeting that a governmental entity like a town board or planning board holds, that it really walks the public through exactly what's going on. So take this notice, for instance, we say right at the outset that the planning board will not be meeting in person. I think this is really important to make sure everyone knows that they should not be going to town hall in order to attend this meeting. And we provide information regarding Zoom, that this is going to be a meeting via Zoom, and also walk them through it, because if you're going to participate in a Zoom meeting and you want to watch the video portion of it, you do have to download the app, whether it's on your smartphone, your tablet. You do have to do that as well. And we also provide not only the link, which is the hyperlink, that takes you directly to the meeting, but also meeting ID and the meeting password. Because, to be honest, if this is a PDF, it's virtually impossible, or a real pain in the ass, quite honest, to type in that link that you see here, into Zoom in order to join the meeting or into your browser. It's much easier to use the Zoom app and type in the ID and then type in the password. And then also, like I said, it's really important to include the telephone number as well and the meeting ID, because we will get participants that are only going to call into a meeting. We've had it happen already. Where do you post this public notice? You post it in all regular locations that are required by law. That hasn't been suspended. So you would post a meeting at the meeting notice board at your town or village hall. You would send it to the official newspaper if that's your office. And if you have to mail it out because of the nature of the public hearing, you would do that as well. Basically, all the requirements by law, where you would normally have to advise anyone that you're going to be holding a meeting, you should still follow. They have not been lifted. The question is, what do you do in addition to make sure that the public knows that you're holding a meeting and that they can attend? You can put the Zoom info, the meeting info, the invite right on the agenda. So if you put it right there at the top, and that way people can see right clearly where it is that they need to do and go in addition to a public notice. You can also post this on the town's website. You can post it on the town hall front door in case there is somebody out there who's been living under a rock and doesn't realize that there's no in-person meeting that is to be occurring. Show up at the meeting at town hall. They should know. You just put it right there on the front door that says, no, this is a not in-person meeting and this is how you attend. If the town has a Facebook page, post it there. A lot of people are getting their news from Facebook these days. That's another resource to help share it. And also, if there's any public hearings that the board is conducting, that info should be repeated in those public hearing notices as well. Can we ensure by these measures that everyone every member of the public has an opportunity to comment if they want to comment at a public hearing during this pandemic? The reality is that we can't, because there is going to be some people that don't have access to this technology, or not going to be able to call in or listen in, or would need to actually physically attend a meeting in order to be able to hear it and understand it. And it's a reality of the situation. What we have is we have an executive order, or several executive orders from the governor, that says that you can continue to hold meetings during the pandemic, and you can continue to hold hearings during the pandemic. What we're trying to do here is not only provide the minimum amount of compliance with that, but we're also to provide as much advance notice as possible, so that if there is any criticism after the fact, or if there's any legal challenges after the fact, you can say not only were these meetings occurring consistent with not only all the normal laws, but also the executive orders, but you can also say these are all the additional steps that we took above and beyond that to try to ensure as much public participation as possible. When you do get to the point of your meeting, when you're going to allow public comment, when we're talking about Zoom in particular, what you can do is you can, unmute the participants, and we'll get to muting in a moment. But you can unmute public participants and ask them if they have any comments, and that goes for people that are participating video or by phone. I also recommend that you allow additional time after the meeting is over to allow for written public comment to be submitted. And here, my recommendation is that it be a minimum of 10 days. 10 days, well, 10 days, is the requirement for written public comment by law when you're going through the environmental review process and you have an environmental impact statement. And so applying it to that, it seems like a reasonable suggestion to, like I said, ensure that there's an adequate opportunity for public comment. When does that clock start? This is a matter of opinion. My suggestion is to have that clock start the moment that the transcript of the meeting is actually posted on the town's website, because that's a requirement from the governor's executive order, is that the meeting itself has to be transcribed. And that transcription should be, in my opinion, posted on the town's website so that anyone who wants to see the actual written transcription of that meeting. I would encourage participants and anyone who wants to comment to provide their comments by email. Unless I'm getting texts in the mail, I really don't want to be opening up mail or touching mail right now, and so I think, and also I know that there have been some slowdowns with mail as well, mail delivery. It's really unfortunate. So if you can submit comments by email, I think it makes it much easier on everybody to distribute and understand exactly what's being said. And you're also going to want to post the recording of the meeting online as well. Remember, Zoom does provide free recording of the meeting, and I'll get into how you do that in just a bit. So this is an example of public hearing notice, and we say right in there that, please submit your comments, preferably by email. If mail is your only option, then obviously we're still accepting comments that way. But please, do it by email if you can. So now you have a meeting scheduled. You know how you're handling public comment. What do you do before the actual Zoom meeting? Well, what I suggest you do is that you actually have a dry run with the participants, with the board members in particular, especially if they're just not used to using this particular platform. If they haven't used Zoom before, then they've got to install it. They've got to connect to the meeting. They've got to make sure they understand how to connect audio and video if they want, and how to mute themselves and how to stop their video. All of these things, take some time. So you can take an hour and walk through, just mechanics of how the meeting would actually go without doing any board business. I also recommend that you pre-assemble all the meeting materials. Put it right in your desktop, because someone can share their screen during the meeting, like we're doing now, and it posts the meeting materials. You can also shower. It's totally optional to you. We're all, that's going to be up to, you and anyone who might be in close proximity to you, and you can get dressed at least, from the waist up. So this, shifting gears for just a second, looking your best, looking your virtual best. I didn't come up with this. This was taken from the New York Times, by Maureen Dowd. She was talking to her friend Tom Ford, and Tom Ford gave her some very nice tips and illustrations as to looking your best. And some of these I've adopted myself. So you want to raise your camera up. You want to raise your laptop up. And I told you guys my dog was in the room. So there he is. And so you want to raise up your laptop so it's actually slightly above your head. I'm 52 years old. There's certain angles that I don't want anybody looking at me from. And so, having it up at this angle, makes for hopefully a slightly better appearance. There's also the ability to put actual light source behind you. I'm not following that particular advice because I've got the window behind me. You have to be careful there that it doesn't blow out your video and make it unwatchable. But if you're concerned with it, you can put a desk lamp, behind your laptop, and it'll give you a nice Tom Ford glow. And you can also put something white on the table in front of you, and that actually adds bounce up, so that it adds good lighting from below, and you get, kind of a nice glow. Anyway, back to the public meeting. So now we have public meeting attendees. How does this run? Well, it runs actually the way a normal board meeting would run. You have your meeting chair, you have your chairman or your chairwoman, and they should be running and controlling the meeting. What they should not be doing is actually being the meeting host, unless they really want to be, because it's an additional burden that is more technical in nature. And to be quite honest, you want to take that burden off of them so that they can focus on the actual conducting of the business. Same requirements are in place that you require a quorum, even though we're doing it virtually. So the members has to attend. And then, you can have a meeting host, and it could be one of those board members. It could be the chair, but it could be one of the consultants or a staff person working for the municipality. And what that meeting host is doing is basically what Jeremy is doing for us so well here today, is to make sure that the video is working, people are able to connect, that people are also muted if they need to be muted, and that the meeting runs orderly. The meeting host can also, share their screen if they want. And here's a setting that I recommend that you turn on in Zoom, that only screen sharing be done by either meeting hosts or meeting co-hosts. And so by that, you present someone else from actually, taking over the meeting and posting something or showing who knows what they want to show in an uncontrolled way. So you want to potentially make the meeting presenters, if you have applicants and their engineers are presenting to the planning board, you may want to make them co-hosts of the meeting so that they can share their materials as well. So a couple of Zoom suggestions as I may. So you don't want to allow participants to join the meeting before the meeting starts. And this is an advanced setting within the Zoom app. And the reason for this is that, the meeting shouldn't start. Send out a link to a Zoom meeting and you don't have this checked off. Then what happens is that participants can join beforehand. They'll see each other, can talk, they can post chat, they can be talking about agenda items without having an official meeting there that's actually being conducted. As a meeting manager, you also want to add participants manually to the meeting and see who's coming in and understand that. You also have the ability to rename participants. So, your chairman might be using his daughter's laptop and it might have his daughter's name on it. This is what Mike was doing earlier today. When Mike showed up, it didn't have Mike's name on it. It had his daughter's name on his laptop. And so, and if he can change that, but also the meeting host can change that as well. And so you may want to, make it easier for the board members so they are clearly identified for members of the public. I recommend that you start the Zoom meeting early. So if you have a 7 o'clock meeting, start it at like 6:30 or 6:40, so that people can start getting in and working out any technical issues that they may have. And also be sure, if you're recording the meeting, because this is the actual municipal meeting, you want to turn local recording on. Zoom has an option where it records it in the cloud, but the recording length is actually quite limited. It's less than an hour of actual video time. And so if you have more than an hour-long meeting, you want to be sure that you record the entire video for that. So another option in Zoom is also mute everyone on entry, and that way you don't have people that are coming in and jumbling and possibly coming in late to the meeting that then are disruptive. And I want to talk about unmuting for a second, and and there's a difference between host unmuting and participant unmuting. So if I'm a participant in a meeting and I have my audio on mute, the host can not turn my microphone on. But the host does have the ability to mute me, which means essentially overrides my ability to mute or unmute. The host can mute everyone in the meeting. And this is really important for meetings where you have a limited window, like for public comment. So if you have a public hearing portion of the meeting where you do want to allow public comment, but you don't want the public to interrupt other presentations or other board business, the host can mute all or mute one who's not supposed to be presenting to the board or the board themselves at the time, and then later on unmute those additional participants and give them the opportunity to talk at that point. But even then, if they want to talk, they also have to mute themselves if they've been muted. Thing that you can consider doing is turning off chat. Chat is available in the app, and in some circumstances where you could have someone ask a question, but you could also see where it could be just so asking a question, and if not everyone's paying attention to the chat, it could be a public comment and it gets lost in the chat, or it could be something else, or it could be something that is intended to be disruptive, God forbid, and in that case, it might be simpler just to turn off, so you don't have to worry about that. Already covered allowing the host and the co-host to share their screens. So now you actually concluded the meeting. What do you got to do? Well, you got to edit the video a little bit. Now you've got a video file. It's stored on the host's computer. And if you took my advice and you started the meeting early, then what you have actually is a half hour maybe of just people sitting down in their chairs and getting used to joining and talking and actually being happy perhaps to see each other and all of that. And so it's actually not technically part of the official governmental meeting. So, you need to actually edit. And it's fairly simple. There's video editors that are out there. I really don't want to go into that. What you want to do is you want to trim that meeting so that it's just the business portion of the meeting when the initial meeting's been officially called to order. And you also want to add like a splash page, like at the beginning of the video. So anyone watching the video they know exactly what it is. So it basically has a title sequence at the beginning. And that title sequence should also include the agenda. And once again, you'll see here on the agenda for the April 16th Planning Board meeting in the town of Newburgh, we included all of that information as to how you could join the meeting via Zoom or by phone right there on the meeting. And this gets put right on the video as well. So anybody looking at it afterwards will see this is what they needed to do in order to actually attend the meeting when it was live. And if you're going to allow public comment after the meeting, then put that right in the video, because it might be something that you say and you should be saying during the meeting, but put it right up front. And also put it at the end of the video in case they watched all the way through and then they decide that they want to submit some public comments. And this is what the video actually looks like. It's a screenshot from it. It has all the participants at that particular time. And, as we're talking, there's the audio and the video from it. As I mentioned, there's also screen sharing. So if someone at our last planning board meeting in the town of Newburgh, we had Ken Worsted from Creighton Manning Engineering serve as basically the materials manager, and he shared his screen throughout the course of the meeting whenever we were discussing plans. And it was incredibly helpful, I have to say, because it basically divided up the running that meeting in a way where the focus on running the business of the meeting. I could focus as the host as making sure that people were being connected, and then Ken could make sure that people were actually seeing relevant information while it was all unfolding. So afterwards, now you want to post the video, your town's website allows you to post video to the town's website. It would be easy to post it on YouTube and just post the link on the town's website, and also post it on Facebook as well, if the town has a Facebook presence or Facebook page. However, I do recommend that you turn off public comments on both YouTube and Facebook for posting videos for governmental meetings. The reason is that there was an opportunity for public comment. There was also instructions as to how to get comments after the meeting. You don't want to have to go around and look and check and see, did someone comment on YouTube? Did someone comment on Facebook? Is it a comment that relates to the meeting materials? Do we have to respond to it? No. If they want to comment, they have the opportunity to do so. They should do it in email. That's their only option. And that's it in a nutshell. There's lots more, I'm sure, but we're basically here to help people get back up and running and use these new tools, which I think are going to be tools that we're going to have to be familiar with going forward. And we're happy to help out our colleagues and everyone in the community basically get to work. And that's what we're here for. And thank you for the opportunity to present.
Great, thanks, Dominic. Great presentation, great insights on kind of the new way of doing business. I had to laugh when you talk about that, because I think we're at home now. We have to respect the authority of our pets, that's for sure. I was on a call earlier today in which somebody had their cat Hillary jump up on their presentation. It's real world stuff. We have to really find out the best way to navigate these challenges. So again, Dominic, wonderful. Really appreciate your presentation. And now we're up for our next one. Biz, I'd love to kick it over to you, and we'll go from there.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Mike. And thank you, Dominic, for all that useful information. I know even for us at the Community Foundation, a lot of the tips that you are really relevant to our committee meetings and boards of director meetings and other meetings. So thanks for all of that. Hopefully I'm looking my virtual best today. Our next task is going to be home office. We officially decided that's the plan, but making it all work, right? Being very flexible these days. So thank you really to HVEDC and to Mike for inviting the Community Foundation to be part of today's kickoff for this great series. I really look forward to seeing what's next to come. To express, my appreciation to HVEDC for all of your support of the foundation. So I'm really here today to talk about really the role of philanthropy and nonprofit organizations in rebuilding our community. The Community Foundation of Orange and Sullivan is very proud to have launched the Orange and Sullivan COVID-19 Response Fund. This was something that came together very. I would be remiss Dominic and his wife Amy for being part of that initial call to action right when things were really starting to escalate in our communities and looking like businesses and others were really going to be shut down. Dominic, first people to reach out to me and say, we've got to do something. What can we do? So thanks, Dominic, for your leadership. And thank you to the other foundations that stepped up and also believed in this concept. So what we did at the Community Foundation was we quickly mobilized some supporters to start this fund, which is now giving grants up to $5,000 to nonprofit organizations in Orange and Sullivan counties who are really on the front lines providing critical services to our community, our neighbors, our friends, and colleagues who are struggling during these times. The most important thing that we wanted to do with this fund would be able to respond quickly and be able to help people immediately in need, while recognizing that this is a very fluid situation and there's a lot of variables and unknowns in terms of how long this is going to last and other things. But certainly I think that initial group of funders, who I'll share later, but like I said, this came together quickly. On March 16th, we were able to collect $225,000 from a core of funders, get this application out to nonprofit organizations, and start making some grants. So to date, we have distributed $239,000 to 63 nonprofit organizations in Orange and Sullivan County who are serving thousands of people in the region. So I want to thank Meg Martini on my staff at the foundation who put together just a little video. I thought it would be nice for everyone to see just some visuals of these grants in action, video, and then I'll follow up with some additional comments. All right, wonderful. Hopefully that gave some nice visuals again around these grants that we're giving to nonprofits in Orange and Sullivan County. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Really nice photos from our organizations that are, also on the front lines providing, really important services. So the next couple of slides is just a long list of all the organizations that have received grants to date. As I mentioned, 63 throughout Orange and Sullivan County have been recipients of those and are providing a wide variety of services. So I just want to talk a little bit about some of the focus areas we've been looking at as a committee to make sure we're really addressing those important needs. So, of course, as you saw in the video, a lot of the initial grants, especially, were around the areas of food insecurity. We know that this is, of course, a top issue for folks who aren't able to, get meat and provide for their family, due to a number of different situations. So we've been thrilled to be able to support not just Hudson Valley Food Bank, but a number of the local pantries and soup kitchens that are continuing to provide groceries and hygiene products and important supplies for folks. So that's certainly one important area. We've also partnered with Catholic Charities and Baby Steps Baby Pantry to provide things like an ointment and again, those critical hygiene supplies folks are just not able to access. Of course, Another key area for us has been in the area of health and safety. We were very proud to grant to Orange Regional Medical Center, Cornerstone Family Health, St. Luke's for the important work that they're doing, and grants were for a variety of things, whether it's helping to support the purchase of PPE to keep their staff and employees safe, as well as putting out tents in front to get people, checked before they walk in the door, and other really important things, those healthcare organizations. We've also done some grant making in the area of education. We all know many that are tuning in right now have had to transition to homeschooling for their children. But of course, for many people in our communities, this is just not practical, whether it's lack of access to technology, no Wi-Fi at home, who aren't there to support their children in this type of learning. So we've done some grant making in that space to organizations like San McKenna Academy of Newburgh, the Rural and Migrant Family Ministry. SUNY Sullivan has also been doing some really neat things to set up extended Wi-Fi service for students. For those who know Sullivan County, you know that in many parts of that very rural community, there still is no access to broadband internet. So SUNY Sullivan has set up pretty strong Wi-Fi, so their students who don't have access to home can come and sit in their cars and do their work in the parking lot. So again, it's just a very fluid situation. You have to be very creative, and that's something the committee and the funders have certainly enjoyed seeing, is just how creative people are being and innovative in these very interesting times. And one other area that we've seen a lot of requests is in the area of technology support. Prepared for this, so people are really scrambling to set, whether it's for their staff to be able to go out into the community and continue to offer support services, or again on the education. So we've supported organizations like Inspire, Greystone communities who are continuing to serve, those with developmental and physical disabilities. They are, another very vulnerable, hard-hit population in our communities. Whether they're living in group homes or independently, really lacking that support and that interaction. So that technology for organizations like those has been really. And of course, we have what I call the catch-all organizations, like our Recap, who are just doing everything that they can to support folks right now. So that just gives kind of, again, a high level kind of what types of things that we're looking for. And these grant applications are open. We still have some funds to give out. So I certainly want to encourage anyone who's on the call today who might or volunteer or even be a donor, please let folks know that this fund is open and available and they can easily apply, and that we are reviewing grants on an ongoing basis, once, twice times a week, really, again, trying to be as responsive as we can and move very quickly through the process. So again, a long list of grantees there, a lot of the Community Foundation's Facebook page and website. The application is available on our website, which is cfosny.org. So check that out and the site. I also wanted to just thank our incredible funders who have supported this. As I mentioned right out of the gate, we were able to secure about $225,000 in just for a month's time. Doubled that number. I'm thrilled to share today. We're very close to $5,000 raised through this effort, and we will continue to forge ahead. And it's just been really incredible to see so many, of course, family and private foundations, individuals, and corporations who have stepped up and wanted to give back to this initiative in this fund. And one thing, for me and the team at the foundation, that has just been so incredible to see is just the wide range in donations. I mean, we've gotten gifts $10, probably the world to those folks who are giving that, up to a $50,000 grant from a private foundation. So I think too, we're hearing from a lot of people who want to give back, want to support their friends and neighbors but it's not the time to go out and volunteer at your local soup kitchen. So this fund is a great way to, impact a lot of people. So thank you again for this amazing list of sponsors and supporters, and everyone who's contributed to this fund. I also wanted to mention that, of course, because we have listeners from all over the Hudson Valley, our fund is focused on Orange and Sullivan counties. However, there are some equally impressive initiatives happening in other parts of the region. I want to give a quick shout out to our partners at Community Foundations of the Hudson Valley, who have started both the Putnam COVID-19 Response Fund as well as the Duchess Response Fund, which is doing similar work, giving out to organizations on the front lines. I know has stepped up in a big way, partnering with the United Way of Ulster County, similar type of fund, and also the Rockland Community Foundation and Chester Community Foundation. So again, really coming together in these extremely difficult times to do what we support our friends and neighbors. So a lot of information out there on what's happening in other parts of the region as well. And then lastly, today, I just wanted to take a moment to give a quick pitch for Hudson Valley Gives. For those of you who may not have heard about this initiative, this is the 5th year that we're doing Hudson Valley Gives. It's a 24-hour online giving. May 20th, we had a lot of internal discussion with our staff and board members if it was appropriate to do this year, if the timing is okay. I'm seeing that the pause is, now for May 15th, and it will just be a few days later. We continue to hear from our nonprofit partners and colleagues and friends that with the cancellation of golf outings and walks and runs and events, potentially through the rest of the year, they need support now more than ever. So we hope that opportunity for people to give generously, at any level that they can, recognizing that people are also going through difficult times, but we think that this platform will help nonprofit partners be able to have a appropriate and successful vehicle. So that's on May 20th. You'll be hearing more about that. But again, if you represent a nonprofit tuning in today, check out the website HVEDC to get yourself registered. It's very simple. We're going to have some fun online and see if we can to come together as a community to raise money for those that really need it. So again, thank you so much everyone for tuning in today. Thank you to our incredible partners, and a special thank you to our nonprofits who are out there providing food and transportation, medicine, and all sorts of really important things for our community members. It's really been quite inspiring, and I'm very grateful for everyone who supported this effort. So thank you again, Mike, for having me today. And feel free, if anyone who's tuning in wants more information, you know where to find me at the foundation. My team continues to work remotely. So thanks again, and I'll kick it back to you, Mike.
Great, wonderful. Outstanding. Thank you so much for all the work that you're doing and that of your team. It's absolutely critical that the Hudson Valley community, the business community, comes together with our nonprofits to do what we can to help everybody get through this crisis. So the work that you're doing, the fund that you've created, outstanding. Thank you for sharing information about the other partners in the other counties. We're also doing great. Dominic, again, thank you for your insights. Both of you are wonderful board members, and certainly appreciate all of your time and effort on behalf of HVEDC. Just some quick bookkeeping or cleaning up. Next week, same time, next Thursday, 4 o'clock, and we'll be having Matt Rand and Paul Adler with Rand Commercial to look at kind of real estate and real estate opportunities during and after COVID-19. So I think it's a great opportunity for people to get a sense of what's happening in our real estate market. And both Matt and Paul do an outstanding job of giving their vast expertise. Also, tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, we will also be having Senator Sullivan will be joining us for Facebook Live chat. You can come right back to our HVEDC Facebook page. Again, that's at 9 a.m. And we're very excited to have the senator join us. We had Senator Schumer about a week and a half or so ago. Senator Gillibrand, tomorrow we'll be talking about the latest legislation coming out of Washington to help small businesses and our economy, kind of get back up on its feet. So that concludes today's webinar. We've given you enough time to hop off, catch the president, Dr. Fauci, on news tonight to get the latest on the crisis. But again, we appreciate everybody joining us, and we hope to see you tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. with Senator Gillibrand. Good night.